Hey guys, today we're making 4 incredible dishes out of your Mexican leftovers. So, without further ado...
Wait. Who the hell are you again?
Oh yeah, I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Jimmy Lowe, but recently I've been adopted into the Green family, so you can call me Jimmy Green if you want. You see, the Brothers Green recently reached 1 million subscribers on this channel. To celebrate, they decided to have a video contest where their fans got to submit video recipes of their own creations that were inspired by the Brothers Green. I was one of those fans. So I sent in my video and I got chosen as one of the 4 finalists. And you guys voted for me to be the next Brother Green. So thank you very much. And thank you to the Brothers Green. So I'm excited to be sharing with you guys on this adventure. Let's start cooking.
First up, we have rice and beans mozzarella balls. So into a bowl, add the leftover rice.
Now I tried this with a different type of rice and it didn't hold together when it was frying. If it's not holding together, you might want to add some flour or just play around with it until it works.
Now we want to add the beans into the rice as well, and then beat an egg and add about half of it in there, just enough to coat everything. Season it with a little bit of salt and just mix it all together like schmo. Now I had some mozzarella cheese in the fridge, so I cut them into little cubes. And I added some cheddar cheese in there just for variety. Now I took the cheese and I put the rice around it and just formed little balls from them. Put some oil in a wok or a frying pan, whatever you have, and then fry up those rice balls. Make sure you move them around so that they get nice and crispy on all sides. Here I'm using some salsa as a dipping sauce, and these were delicious. Nice and crispy on the outside and gooey in the center. Next up, we have the burrito shepherd's pie. So we start off with a leftover burrito that I had. Scoop out all the contents, and there's a lot of good stuff in here. There's obviously the meat, there's lettuce, tomatoes, onions. Now we want to cut up some onions of our own, dice it up real good, and then put it in a hot pan. Add some salt to it and just move it around like this. Get some color on those onions. I added some spice, cayenne, I think I had paprika, cumin. Next I put some garlic in there. Just grated it right in and mix it in before it burns. Add that burrito meat in there and then season it the way you like with some salt and taste as you go. Now I had some extra thyme, so I added that in there as well.
Here I forgot to add the salsa, but if you're making this at home, definitely add either salsa or a can of tomatoes or some ketchup. Anything with a little bit of acid to it, a little bit of umami from the tomatoes.
Now let's open up a bottle of Now let's open up a bottle of beer and take a little swig. Then add some of that beer into our mixture, just to loosen it up a little bit. Now as that's cooking, let's take the tortilla from the burrito, and I should have toasted it up first, but basically just put it in a food processor, make it into almost like breadcrumbs. You want to toss that in there to kind of thicken it. So you want the mixture to become about this consistency. Now I had some frozen peas and carrots, turned off the heat and added those in, and just incorporate those peas and carrots in there and smooth out the surface.
I use a cast iron pan which means I can take it from the stovetop and put it in the oven. But if you guys don't have that, just put it in a casserole dish or any kind of oven-safe container.
Next, leftover mashed potatoes. You knew it was coming back, and here they are. Let's put them just a thin layer on top, and then just make whatever designs you want on top with a fork. Just create your masterpiece here. Here's my masterpiece.
At this point, you want to put your shepherd's pie in the oven for about 10-15 minutes at 400 degrees. It's not an exact science. Basically, you want all the flavors to meld together. Everything's already cooked. You just want everything to meld together. After it's been in the oven for a while, set your oven on broil. Put the shepherd's pie on the top rack. Basically what broil does is the heat goes from the top to the bottom. If you put it on the top rack on broil, you're gonna get that color on the very top of your pie, which looks really nice. Just make sure you check every few minutes so you don't overly burn the top.
The beautiful thing about this recipe is you can really put whatever leftovers you have into this pie, just using the same concepts, cook it down, and put a layer of mashed potatoes on top, and there you have it. This is the way I really like to eat this, just straight out of the pan. Look at that deliciousness. Alright, let's go to the taco pizza. This one's a pretty simple one. You take a taco, and notice how if you open it up, it becomes almost like a pizza. Here I have a shredded chicken taco, and I just place it on a cutting board and just play around with the ingredients a little bit, spread them out. And I had this salsa from the restaurant as well, and I add that on top, sort of like a tomato sauce. Go ahead and put it in the pan.
Now I like reheating pizzas on the stovetop because you can get that nice crispy bottom, but it does take a little bit of making sure that the heat is just right because you want it to be hot enough to melt the cheese on top, but not so hot that it burns the bottom. Definitely you can just put it in the oven if you prefer it that way as well.
Hit it with some of that mozzarella cheese, some Parmesan cheese, whatever cheese you have on hand. And then on medium heat, add a little bit of water, just a tiny bit, so that it begins to steam the entire pizza. The Mexican meatball soup. I had these tacos left over from the restaurant, and they're kind of soggy, not the freshest. They're chorizo tacos though. We want to use that flavor of the chorizo. I'm gonna make some meatballs with some ground beef I had, and I add that chorizo in there. And then I break an egg in there, add some salt. And we really want that freshness in there, so I cut up some cilantro and toss that in there as well. Now we have these chips from the restaurant that they packed for us, so I'm just gonna crush it and put it in the meatballs, sort of like breadcrumbs. Form the meatballs with your hands, like so. Now put some oil in a pan and put the meatballs in there to start browning them on all sides. Let's start making the soup. Start by heating up some oil in a pot and adding some onions and some salt. And then from here on out, you can just add whatever veggies that you have left in the fridge. I have some mushrooms and some peppers, some carrots, and then put some spices in. I used cumin and cayenne and paprika. You want to grate in some garlic and mix it in there real good. I still have some rice and beans left, so let's add that in there as well. Again, anything goes in a soup. I have this salsa, so I'm going to add that in there for flavor. And then I want to add some stock. And I have this better than bouillon paste, which is very convenient. You just mix it with water and you add more water if it's too salty until it tastes about right. We want to bring the soup up to a boil and then back down to a simmer. Now as that's cooking, let's take the tortilla from the taco and cut it up into strips. Place it on a sheet pan with some oil and salt. Toss that around and put it in the oven. Check on it every few minutes and just stir it around so that it gets crispy on all sides. Now the soup is almost ready and I don't have a lime, so I'm just gonna add a lemon. This was really good.
So that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed these leftover creations, and I hope it gave you some inspiration to go out and do something with whatever you have, even if it's not exactly what I had. Let me know what kinds of videos you want to see from me down in the comments section, and subscribe for much more deliciousness. If you want to follow me, I'm on Instagram at Jimmy Low Cooking, and the link is down below as well. See you next time and have a glorious day.